Hello, everyone. This is Tamara Childs, your psychic intuitive on one2listen.com, here with astrologer and sound healer Ruth McCants. Hey, Ruth.
Hi there. How
We're,
you doing
we're
this
here.
morning?
Well, good morning, everyone. It is July the 20th, 2017. This is your weekly energy update. We want to talk about the new moon coming. We want to talk about some ways to use this new cycle of energy. And so, Ruth, where should we start today?
Well, I've just been kind of laughing at my whole week because I think the cosmos has been really doing some trickster energy. I've had all kinds of, which I won't go into, all kinds of interesting little things occurring.
I noticed that
One I
myself.
will talk about. Let me talk about this one right quick. My telephone, it was so funny. I had to laugh. A message that a friend sent 2 weeks ago shows up on my phone on Monday. And it's like, but this was sent 2 weeks ago.
I know.
So
I know.
those kinds of things that make you laugh. So I think laughter
Yes.
with this new moon is important because
And,
Leo,
and why is this important? One of the reasons is we've been cycling out of Mars in Cancer, which, so for the last little chunk of time, we've been very, Cancer's not the most, it's not necessarily a light sign. It's a sign more about emotional security and, making sure our shell is safe and, secure and making sure we feel secure, and security is in some ways not a real thing, so we can spend a lot of energy trying to feel secure. And so I think with things moving into the Leo space, especially Mars just moving into Leo
mhm,
as
mhm.
of early this morning, we have there's a new sort of confidence to come out of the shell. And I think also Leo is fun. And I think that we need to have a little fun. I think things have been a little bit like on an emotional roller coaster for people, a little bit ups and downs, and managing their feelings, and how do I feel about this, and feeling, you know, on the edge and edgy and touchy and sensitive.
That's a very good description of the Cancerian energy.
Mhm.
Cancer, like you said, Cancer is about securing things, whatever it happens to be, whether it's your physical or your mental or your emotional. But you're right, there has to be that freeing up. And so I think Mars going into Leo has pulled the cover off of things.
Yes, that trickster energy. The trickster energy, it's like when you get really pent up and wound up and serious about something you've got to get done, and then everything's just slipping and falling out of your hands, and and finally, if you can let go of the seriousness of the security you're trying to create, I think that's where the trickster energy comes in. Um, whether it's coming from our own collective, our own subconscious, or actual trickster energies, that come in and say, you need to lighten up. I'm going to poke you in the ribs a little bit. I think definitely I've been noticing that this week, especially in the beginning of the week. It's like sending messages that didn't get delivered, missing. It was
Right.
almost a Mercury retrograde
Yeah.
feeling this week. I noticed that, where I had meetings set up that fell through because people were in different time zones, and ah,
Well, it has been. I actually had a situation of a letter that started in May and just ended up at the beginning, came back to me
uh-huh.
after going around total full circle and coming back to me. So, yes, there's a loosening up. And I think Mercury is also in Leo, and the communication, and here's that trickster, playful energy. The universe sent that thing all the way around. And it had so many stamps on it, undeliverable, can't get over here, can't get, and it had stamps everywhere on the
Uh-huh.
envelope.
Uh, it was a message that was not meant to get to you until
That's
the right time.
that's right.
And that's interesting because some of the things we're going to talk about today are cycles. We're going to talk about this new moon cycle that
Right.
today's
Right.
Thursday, and the new moon is on Sunday the 23rd.
Yes, it is. And we start feeling it
early.
About 2 to 3 days out, we actually start feeling that energy.
Yeah, I feel like there's an intensity before the new moon. Maybe some people feel like it's a vacuum, and it's almost like this empty space that's you're getting pulled toward this new space where this light is going to emerge for us. And we have this new moon in Leo, and as we were talking about right before we started the show, we're going to have, of course, a second new moon later in August. That's the eclipse. But this new moon is also powerful. What's powerful about it to me is the fire.
Well, let me ask you, what do you find absolutely fascinating about the fire?
Well, I feel that we have been collectively processing a lot about like these issues of stability. Where are we going? Where do we want to have as our home psychologically and physically? What do we want to manifest in the world? And so there's been a lot of uncertainty, I feel, with clients and just everyone processing the uncertainty of life. And fire is that, it's that force that just says yes. It helps us say yes to something and take action. That's
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying about that? There's just been this wobbly feeling with people. Like, I don't know, when I get to the end of this mood, I'll let you know if I can do that or not. And the fire is just like, fire is either burning or it's not. It's either alive or it's not. And so, a flame is a flame. And so when we have this new moon, and also it's Leo fire, which is a steady flame.
Mm-hmm.
It's not flickering. And so I feel like this is saying to us energetically, there's a cauldron here. There's a place for you to burn. So go ahead and burn and want what you want. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
When you said that, and I'm actually going to ask all of our viewers to send an open heart and blessings and really good feelings to the people here in California, because you talk about fire. There are areas that we're experiencing that are real and present in terms of fire.
Yeah.
And what fire really means. We have the metaphorical fire, but we're looking at real fire, in the sense. And so, and you talk about the steadiness when a flame is totally there. And that's what we're experiencing here on the land. So yes, it is. It's both playful in terms of the Leo, but it's also, I think at this particular time, we need to be mindful of what its effects are. What message, both metaphorically and real, is the fire sending to all of us?
Well, it's powerful. I mean, I live in a fire space too. We have had times we're entering the fire time because it's almost August, and we don't have them right now, but we have had, it's a very destructive force, and it's also a creative force.
Yes.
I used to talk about this on my radio show that, when a forest fire comes in, because there is overgrowth. And so you can kind of look at a forest and say, well, that one's ready, that's ready to go, because there's a lot of thickness to the growth. And so when it comes time, nature, there's a lightning strike or something, and then it burns away what is not allowing the new growth to happen. And then if you look, I know close to my family's ranch, there was a fire that came really, really close a number of years ago. And what happens is it becomes very green afterward because it's burned away. It creates a lot of fertility is what I'm saying. And we're talking about the alchemy of
yes,
fire, right?
Absolutely.
As well as the physical.
And you just made an absolutely brilliant point. What are the parts of our lives that have underbrush and undergrowth and things emotional? Because we're talking on the emotional level. What things do we need to take a look at and be willing to clean it out without having to have the fire do it for us.
Oh, I'm so glad you said this. We never know exactly what we're going to talk about or where the conversation's going to turn. And, but this is absolutely a time when people need to, when our comfort zones have been sticky places, let me stay like a barnacle on the inside of my cozy area and stay attached to situations that are not growthful or fruitful for me. And so for those of you watching, hopefully you'll be seeing this sometime in August or, whenever the show, we can get it up on YouTube, because this is very timely for right now. I feel like that's an absolute message that's coming up in a lot of my readings with clients and people's lives, people I'm talking to, that there are stale areas that need to be burned out in our lives. And it reminds me very much of our cards that we pulled for this new moon. Should we just do the cards now?
Sure, why not?
Oh, okay. So one of the things, and I never know what we're going to get. The first thing I got, everybody, is the Knight of Discs. And this is a very stable, solid, not particularly moving card as a knight. He's just sort of hanging out, feeling the beauty of life and the goals, but he is looking toward the horizon, even though he's not moving. So this is a time for us to use this new moon to look to the horizon, feel the stability of our lives, and prepare to move forward. Does that make sense?
And I think I actually have the answer card to that one, because I actually have the Four of Wands.
Yes, I like that. Last week you also drew a
four,
triangle, and I love the triangle inside the circle. Yeah.
And that Four of Wands is, as you mentioned, the stability, but with the fire wands, we could light things up if it gets, like you said, too stable, because there's some undergrowth when we get into a comfort zone, and we get and you said another word, stale.
So that's a note for people to look right now. Your life is going to show you with this new moon, where is your life feeling stale? And we should mention that there is a conjunction between Mars and the moon.
That's right. Mars.
This is a hot new moon coming, guys.
Well, actually, it's between, because it's the Mars and the sun. So it's a double dose of fire, because Mars is fiery.
That's right.
And then along with the moon, you can have some cooling off with the moon, because it's got the cooling effect. But overall, it's that fiery kind of energy that's saying, okay, get going. Look at it.
Yes, you're going to notice the undergrowth, and you're going to want to burn it. You're going to notice the stale areas. You're going to be more frustrated about stale areas in your life where you were tolerating before. Toleration is something that comes up a lot with clients that are in the process of making changes. What are you tolerating that is no longer for you? Where are things just so stale? You've been talking about it for 9 months, and it's time. It's time to initiate those changes. Now, it's interesting, Ruth, because the second card I got, it's called Debauch in the Thoth Crowley deck. And it's the Seven of Cups. I'll just show you that.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a swamp. And this is an interesting visual interpretation of this card. But what I got from this is, my psychic read of this is, there are going to be people around you that, well, let me put it this way. If you have created yourself or oriented yourself as someone who's always looking, well, what are they doing? What are they doing? What do they think? What do they think? You're going to feel lost in the clouds of myriad, just various things in the universe that other people are doing. And it really only matters what you want. It doesn't matter the swamp of other people's opinions. Other people's opinions is something that's going to come up during this new time period, I think, where people are hesitating. Well, I don't know. Are other people doing what I want to do? Or, and really this is about just deciding what's coming from you that you want to do.
Now, you know, Tamara, that's very interesting that
Yeah.
you have that card, because without even us knowing what each other is pulling,
Yeah.
I get the survival. This is from the Sonia Choquette Ask Your Guides Oracle. And here, the person is standing in a boat. So the question could be, what is your particular boat that you alone, you have your own boat to be able to navigate the cups, your card, your 7 cards. What is your particular space in life that is your unique boat? And the name of this card is survival. How is it that you're going to navigate those cups of other people's opinion?
Yeah, and it's also what that brings up too, Ruth, is to the viewer who is watching and listening. You already have survival. You already have a boat. You already have your own way. It's just that we get so distracted sometimes because we'll have our own way and we'll think, yeah, but look at what that person has. You know, this is my ice cream cone, but they've got a different flavor. You know, when I was growing up, that was something my family used to do, is on a hot August day, my dad would say, let's go down. I can't remember the name of the place, but we would go get an ice cream cone. And, you know, there'd be all these flavors, and it was about choosing a flavor. And then we would get a flavor, and then you'd look over at your sibling's cone and they would have a different flavor and think, I wish I had their flavor. But this is really about what makes your heart sing. And it's not about other people's flavors right now. And this is the challenge. It's going to continue, this challenge of other people's opinions, what they are or are not doing. It doesn't matter to you. What matters is what makes your heart sing and what you really want.
You know, Tamara, as you were relating the ice cream story, that reminds me of when I was a kid. I'm originally from Michigan, and there's this place we used to get ice cream, and they had one called Blue Moon. Now, we don't know exactly why they had blue ice cream. We can surmise, you know,
Yeah.
but I love to eat. See, there was never a question about other people's flavors. I loved eating Blue Moon ice cream, and of course my tongue turned blue too.
That's really fun. Good stories for summer. And then another card that I got is it's the Princess of Swords. It's a very chaotic looking, a little bit scary, stormy looking card in the Crowley deck. And you know, this goes very much with what we've been talking about. It was actually reversed when I drew it. And the way that I interpreted that is that the way that I'm seeing this is too many thoughts maybe about what you don't want, or too much examination of an idea from other people's points of view versus your own core. Because, you know, swords can get very, you know, fragmented. And sometimes we get very fragmented in our thinking, where we're not in the heart of what we want at all. We're just in a kind of, you know, the mind is all fractured, and we're thinking almost the thoughts that people have, the opinions of others that they've said to us through the years, and we're thinking of our thing or our project or our life through that sort of disconnection with. So I think, again, that these two cards to me speak about the distractions that we have in our patterns of looking at those around us versus ourselves. And what just coming from here, almost get out of your head, is what I'm getting with that card.
And you know, Tamara, this is really, and we never ask each other what we're picking until, and then we just show one another.
Yeah.
But I have the other aspect of that, because when you have that kind of, when you indecisive.
Yeah. Tell them the name.
Yes, this is from the Aboriginal Spirit Oracle by Mel Brown. An Aboriginal practitioner and healer in Australia. But this this really answers your two cards. You see, when we get into analysis paralysis, we get analysis paralysis when we have a crossing of those swords. And this is what happens.
Yeah.
I think if you look at how it even looks.
Yeah, it looks like a web.
Yeah, like a web. We get into the web of what do they have? What do they do? What should I do?
Yeah, what are the formulas that other people are using? And it's not about getting in your head like that and over analyzing. I'm so glad you said analysis paralysis, because that is sort of one of the things that people are all going to be facing, I think, is over analyzing what they think an action will be for them versus just feeling it in the heart and doing what you feel guided, what feels good to your heart. Let's put it simply. Now, my timer did just go off, but we're not quite done. So let's take a few more minutes, okay?
Okay, a couple more minutes. And you said the key point for Leo. Two things I want to say. Leo is the heart. It's ruled by the sun, and it's symbolized by the heart. And if we get into our heart, we can't exactly go and say, well, what do they want me to do? What should I do over here? Because if you're centered in your heart, you have the answer. And the other part astrologically is look to where Leo is in your own chart. Yes. Because that gives you your big clue. Yes. What area of my life is calling my heart?
I couldn't have said it better. And with these slightly more difficult cards, the things that we all are going to be working through with this new moon, I drew another beautiful card. This is from Cheryl Richardson's self-care cards. And I got achievement.
Yes.
And on the back, it just says, chase your dreams. You'll be surprised by where they lead you. Now, this is, I mean, in a nutshell, this card really says that if you can get the mind chatter out and let it go and really feel the resources of your inner being and allow your heart to guide you. These sound like things people say a lot, and like it sounds simple, and sometimes it's not simple to drop into the heart space, but we're really being asked to with this new moon.
Yes, we are. Yes, we definitely are, because in fact, Mars is saying, take action, but take action from your heart. Mercury is already ahead of the other planets, but it's in Leo too. So speak from your heart. And then
I like that.
And then, of course, the moon is saying, be in your heart.
Yeah.
And then the sun is saying, shine from your heart.
There's a lot of heart inclination right now for everyone. So it's time to wrap up. This is the energy update, but we want to also just point you in some other directions. Please subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this. Also, I have a radio show on 1-2 Radio tomorrow on Fridays at 10 a.m. Pacific called Elements of Wisdom. And tomorrow we're talking about your birth story and the stories we have around how we were born and how that carries through our identity in life. So please tune in there with me. And
sounds exciting.
Well, yeah, I think so. And Ruth, you have some also exciting news, and you tell people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at one of my new homes, and I'm so glad to invite everybody to come over and just check it out. I'm now on Teachable School. I have Ruth's Teachable School, Soul Sound Insights.teachable.com.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be featuring my first online workshop. And so if you are really wanting to know about it, you're invited to come over and check me out at soulsoundinsights.teachable.com. And I'm really excited.
I know this is going to be wonderful. I can imagine people in a room with you for, a period of time and all the value that they would get. It's just, it's really fun for us to do these shows every week.
Right. Yes, it is.
We're getting the technology down. We're getting used to it. So please.
Actually, the workshop will be on July 28th, 10 a.m. Pacific time.
Oh, everybody go over to her site and check that out and get the details. And thank you so much for watching. Be aware of the new moon energy coming into your space. and everything that we talked about. I'm glad this is recorded because you can, you know, go back to those cards if they have, you know, said something to you. So that's it for today. We'll see you next week, everybody.
Bye-bye. Have a good week, everyone.